And my favorite part about this game was Martinelli just opening his arms to celebrate before he put that away. Imagine if he had missed a chance or the defender had managed to close him down. But in the end, Arsenal needed to show character, and that's exactly what they did. Coach, huge 3 points for Arsenal.
Major 3 points. Look, we did a game on radio, and you remember what I said was that they will have to win. They shouldn't be concerned about the how. Just go out there and make sure that by the time the referee blows the whistle for the end of the game, 3 points should be in the bag. The how wasn't the concern. They did exactly what they were expected to. But the only worry is that, look, they'll have to defend better going forward. Because if you really want to win the league, you cannot be this lucky. I'm using the word lucky because I don't remember the last time.
Other chances as well.
Yes. Villa had so many chances. Just before Arsenal scored that all-important goal,
Bailey hit the crossbar.
Bailey had hit the crossbar.
Yep.
And at that moment, if somebody were to tell you that the source of that Arsenal strike would be from a certain Jorginho, you would not believe that. You bet your last peso that would not going to happen. But unfortunately for Martinez, he came off the bar, hit him and then went in.
You know the interesting thing? Something similar happened in the AC Milan game where the player hit the post, he hit the keeper's back. Just that luckily he went out for a corner. So those things, it can really
hurt. But at the end of the day, look, Mikel Arteta, I still maintain, will have to calm down and focus on the coaching. Yesterday, at some point, you realize that when he calmed down, started encouraging the boys, keep moving it quicker, move it about quickly, get everybody involved. They became a better team to watch. Because from now to the end of the season, we saw, in fact, you outlined the difficulty of their fixtures level. I think their next 5 games look very winnable. After those 5,
they have a very interesting stretch where
they play Man City, Liverpool, Newcastle, Chelsea, all at the same time.
They play Manchester City and Chelsea back to back. Then there's a Newcastle game right after that.
Exactly. Those are the games that, in my view, would decide whether they win the league.
That's a title deciding.
That's a title deciding stretch right there. But as it stands, I think they must be doing everything practically, spiritually, mentally, psychologically possible to bring Thomas Partey back to fitness. Because you can clearly see, come on, he's been terribly missed.
The truth is, Jorginho's, because he's not an athlete, he can't cover as much space. So it makes it harder for the team to defend transition. Just because it's not that Jorginho is bad. If the boy is around him, within 6 yards of him, it's fine. But once he has to cover 10 yards, 15 yards,
and then return to his post again,
and then do the defending.
Because there were some counter attacks where Arsenal lost the ball, and Xhaka, Odegaard were getting to the penalty box before him.
Yes,
to come and defend the ball.
If you look at the second goal they conceded. When Martinez picked up the ball and gave the ball to Camara, nobody pressed Camara. He came, found the pass, went to continue.
Took a return ball,
and you ask yourself, if Thomas Partey was there, he would have anticipated better. One of Jorginho's biggest problem is his inability to anticipate better on the defensive duty. Because he's not accustomed to winning the ball. He tends to overlook.
Coach, I don't even think that's the problem. I think that he just isn't fast or quick enough. So
you don't need to be fast and quick enough. If you can anticipate,
you can
see where the danger is. Then just go and stand there.
I think when you're playing centre back, it's a lot easier. But if you're in the midfield, where it's a dynamic role, and you don't have it, I'm just saying that.
I understand what you're saying.
He just, even when he sees it, sometimes you see him trying, but he's thinking to himself, if I go, will I be able to come back?
Let's say he tends to see it very late. Thomas Partey will see the movement of the ball and say, look, I think when I'm here, eventually to come there, then I'll deal with it. Partey doesn't go about chasing the ball everywhere. He's well positioned.
He just reads properly.
Casemiro doesn't go chasing the ball everywhere. We are not saying he should be like a Casemiro. He's got his strength. But I think that as a player at that level, you should identify your weakness and try and minimize the impact of the weakness on your team. It's just like you being in a classroom. I have always maintained that the subjects that I didn't do too well in were those I spent the most time trying to fix. And I think that is what he should be doing as we speak. Look, if he can do that, let nobody miss. He's a fantastic player because he's still learning the Arsenal way of doing it. That is why Yesterday, I told you something. That if I was the coach, I would have told Xhaka, instead of allowing Odegaard dropping deep to pick up the ball, I would rather be restricting the movement of Xhaka to be in and around Jorginho and then doing the transition. Because Jorginho himself, he hardly passes the ball 60 yards, 70 yards. He will go short 10, 15, 20, maximum 25, 30 yards. But for a midfielder, he should be able to hit the ball 60 yards, 70 yards when he sees the gap. Xhaka is very capable of doing that. So going forward, I think they play Leicester City next. A game that is going to be very tricky. Because this Leicester team, although Man United dealt with them today, United themselves were very, very lucky.
Yeah.
Leicester have found some form at home and they could be very, very problematic. But so far, so good. Yeah. I have said I want Arsenal to win the league because if Man City were to win it, they will be equaling a record I don't want any team to equal in the EPL.
Personal interest. Let me talk to you about Ben White because I've zoned in on this a little. Now, I'm saying this because there have been games where Arteta prefers Ben White as his right back. There are games where he prefers Tomiyasu. Every time I watch Ben White, I'm honestly always reminded that this guy's a centre back playing at right back. Do you think this is a genuine problem for Arsenal going forward for the rest of the season?
No. I think you have to think about Ben White's on the ball more than his off the ball. In the sense that in the build-up, it's how they are using him in the build-up. That's what's most important. I think you're right that sometimes when he's faced with certain types of wingers, he does look a bit more uncomfortable. And Tomiyasu will be more suited to defending those more agile wingers. Because Tomiyasu is a much better defender in terms of...
But none of those guys are natural right backs anyway. Both Tomiyasu and...
Tomiyasu is a very interesting case because he's played a lot of right back and a lot of centre back. And because he can use both feet, he's also even played left centre back. So he's a very versatile player. So even if he's not a natural right back,
I've seen him play at left back a few times.
Yeah, exactly, because he can play because he can play any defensive position. I think that's why Arteta even likes him on the bench. So like, in the game, when you have to make an adjustment, you know you can plug him in anywhere. But aside that, I think with Ben White, because he's a bit comfortable with the ball, he can move like a more traditional right back, go up the pitch, combine the play, even hit a few crosses here and there. But in certain situations too, because he also has a centre-back training, he can drop back into the back line, form a back three with their build-up. So they are able to vary their build-up. So sometimes they can build as if they are playing with the back three, with Zinchenko moving to the midfield. Or if there's just one striker trying to press the two centre-backs, he can move into midfield and give them extra numbers. I think that's the reason Arteta prefers him to Tomiyasu, that he's better on the ball. And I understand, because if you're Arsenal, you're going to, more often than not, you're going to play a game, you're going to have 55-60% possession. So you need to have the better build-up. So you're thinking to yourself, okay, we are losing a bit on defense, but our build-up is much better, which is the same reason why you with Zinchenko, who's not the most defensively solid, is such a key player because he is the build-up. He's able to enter the midfield, overload the midfield and that kind of stuff. So you have to think about Ben White's...
You're weighing your pros and cons.
Yeah, exactly.
On
how comfortable he is on the ball is probably his best asset. I think as a defender, and I said this many times when he was bought, that there was no reason to buy him when Saliba was in the team. That I felt that even last season, 2 seasons ago, Saliba was a better defender anyway. So for me, 50 million on Ben White to come and play centre-back didn't make sense. We are seeing Saliba playing very well now. He's had his moments, fair enough, but for the most part, he's been very good. And he's vindicated my point. But at the same time, I think Ben White has done very well to adjust to playing right back. And his ability on the ball has really helped Saka because the two of them are combining very well on the wing. And we are seeing Saka's form. And we are seeing how well Arsenal are controlling games, partly because of Ben White's ability on the ball. He is a liability defensively compared to Tomiyasu, but I think because of his ability on the ball, he has the edge. Because remember, right now, teams, you can't say you are going to be a good centre-back who can't pass anymore. Because you are a liability in the build-up. Teams are going to target you for pressing. Yep. So you need players who are comfortable on the ball. So I think we have to consider the way Arsenal are playing and what they are trying to achieve and why they use Ben White. Because I agree with you. I'm not convinced by him as a defender, pure defender. Yeah. But I also understand what he offers in the build-up and why he's so important to Arsenal.
Coach, would you consider buying a natural right back if you were Mikel Arteta or Arsenal? Maybe not this season, but going forward.
Next season, he has to address that. Because Ben White wasn't bought to come and play at right back. Arteta had issues with Saliba. Now, Saliba comes in, he's gotten everybody to accept the fact that he's the better centre back. So he needed to find a position for his £50 million player, or else the owners will be questioning him. Why did you make us spend 50 million on Ben White?
somebody you don't intend to use. Yeah.
That you don't intend. So that is why he's been forced. But the young man, I mean, he's adjusted very well, but he's always been the weak link. If you go back again to the goal that second goal they conceded, he was caught unaware. His body shape was completely wrong, and by the time he recovered, the ball was in the back of the net. It is better. Defensively, it is better when you use specialists. Don't ever think of using a mixture, because your goalpost is right behind them. So if they are not specialists in their position, they tend to give a lot away. And by giving a lot away, you end up conceding goals. Make your work very, very difficult. So yes, he's adjusted this season, but I'll be shocked if they don't go into the market and get. I think they can afford to have
Gabriel, Saliba, and White all at centre back.
But they bought another Polish defender from Italy.
Yeah. He's definitely going to be a backup. I don't think.
So he's good. But of course, if you look
he's
at
more to upgrade on Rob Holding.
If you look at what they are looking at doing, I think it's time they let go of Rob Holding and then get their. Look, I believe that if you want to do well, you need 4 solid centre back, all at the same level. So there are times where today it will be Saliba, Gabriel. The next move is Ben White, Gabriel. The next
mix and match.
You can mix and match.
I'll be honest. The way I see Arsenal, I don't even think they necessarily need a new starting right back. I think Tomiyasu can do the job.
No, but he will need a backup.
Yeah, I mean a backup, not a starting right back. I'm saying that if they buy a backup, and I feel that the truth is, for me personally, I think it should be Saliba and Ben White as centre back going forward. I think Gabriel, he makes too many mistakes for my liking. I think if they want to do well in the Champions League,
they should look for
a new partner. Saliba and Ben White will be fine, because I think Ben White as centre back will look a lot better than he has at right back, and I think he won't be as mistake. The two of them are not as mistake prone as Gabriel. So I think if you play the two of them as centre back, you keep Zinchenko, you keep Tomiyasu. If you want, you can even upgrade at right back. It's not a necessity, but they could.
It's a luxury they can afford.
It's a luxury they can. I think that Gabriel is the one who should leave. I think this whole because he's left-footed. He's basically playing because he's left-footed, if we're being honest. Yeah. So I think he's the one who has to go.